Good morning and welcome to another great edition of Money Truth Moments with our very own money truth expert and whisperer, Judy Copenbarger. How are you?
I am enjoying the holidays, Carlos. This is just like the best time of the year. So much fun. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I love the fact that it's the season, right? I love seeing your tree there. It just lights up the mood and it takes our show to another level, right? Just festivities, gratefulness, and all that good stuff.
Very fun. Very fun. I love it. I love it. What do we got today? What are we going to talk about?
Folks, if you're just joining us, welcome to the show. Make sure you are following Judy at judycopenbarger.today. Having said that, we're on this trajectory where we're talking about the holidays, trying to prepare. We talked about tax stuff last week. And today we're going to really talk about the holiday financial triggers, how to stay calm, how to spend with clarity, and again, just calmness. So, what do you say we get started?
I'm ready and I'm peaceful and calm and happy to participate.
I'm in my happy
Um,
place, right?
let's
Exactly.
do it.
All right.
Isn't that what they
So,
do? Something like,
yeah,
calming down, breathe.
totally. So tell us what are some of the emotional triggers, right? People face when it comes to money, specifically now in the holidays.
Oh, well, there's advertising all around, the pressure to get the right gift, to not be that guy, that didn't show up with the right thing or whatever. But the holidays, I love it. The connection, the happiness, the memories I have from my life, and it was pretty. You think about Christmas, it's good stuff. Not everyone has that experience, and I think that's something really to remember as we go into the season. Christmas is not the best time of the year for a lot of people. They either have suffered a loss or maybe it just brings back memories of their childhood that were not happy around Christmas. So we always want to remember to reach out to people that, might not really be enjoying all the lights and the festivities and things like that. So, with that being said, financially, the triggers are all around us, the advertising and, just the pressure to do all the food and do all the decorations and do all the parties and all that stuff. And you end up spending more. So, it's easy to do, easy to overdo, but also easy to avoid. So, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, and let me ask you, so why does the pressure why is that pressure, right? To spend or give more? It seems to hit so hard, specifically more this time of year, right?
Yeah, there's just more opportunity to overspend. I mean, look at the advertisers. Every commercial, every billboard. If you're out in the malls and the stores like that, even the grocery store, the end of every aisle is full of stuff you really could live without. Honestly. Sometimes
That's
you
true.
see it and it's like, how did I ever live without that thing, that gadget, But it's full of stuff that we really don't need. And the stores nowadays, I guess for marketing purposes, for income revenue purposes, they start, in September, we're doing Thanksgiving. In August, we're doing Halloween. And then they start, even in October, I saw stuff for Christmas. And so there's just all these seasonal parts of every store that just, and it's just, stuff. If you think about it, most of it, if you didn't put it in your cart a year from now, you wouldn't even remember that it was there. It's not necessary. Kind of fun, but not necessary. But that does trigger a lot of people. It's like, how could I live without that? I need that. So it's an emotional kind of a spending. This time of year, it really shows up for a lot of folks.
So let's talk about that. The emotional roller coaster, right? That
Mhm.
people feel around giving, hosting, and just basically just showing up for others. Because it's a massive roller coaster for sure.
Yeah, yeah, and I think it's that, if I do well, if I give the right gift or if I decorate the right way or if somebody says, "Ooh, I like your yard," or "I like your tree," or whatever, it's like, "Ooh," there's the high. And then the low is, you show up and it's like somebody gave the gift you wish you would have. Well, I'll do better next time. I'll spend more next time. I want to make sure my father-in-law is not unimpressed, or whatever it is. So, there's a lot of pressure, a lot of ways to be triggered financially this time of year.
How does and you talked about it too. How does comparison really play into these holidays, overspending and creating that financial stress?
Yeah, comparison, that's the thing. So, if they have something, and I've fallen into this a little bit. I want to be like when you do the gift exchange at work or, with friends or at church or whatever, you want to be the one that has the cool gift that they remember and they go, "Oh, that was just so cool. I remember you did whatever last year." You kind of want to be the cool kid, right? So, that's one kind of pressure. With the family, I think it might be, especially extended family, it might be the right gift, or you spent enough, or you weren't too cheap or cheesy, or, was it thoughtful enough? We have one family member that is always winning the thoughtfulness award. It's like, that is so, and not even expensive things. She's very thrifty, but every year it's like, that was so thoughtful. Like she really puts thought and love into choosing, her gifts and things like that. So that's kind of a gift in itself to be able to have that intuition and the EQ, to do that. So Christmas doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be trigger worthy. I think the awareness of things like that do trigger us or cause us to do things that later we go, I wish I hadn't spent that. I wish I hadn't done it that way. Um, an awareness of that can help us just avoid it and plan around that. And that can happen around any holiday, particularly these.
Folks, if you're just joining us, you are catching us at a great show because we are talking about these financial triggers for the holidays, especially Judy's going to talk about more on how we stay calm and we sure we have a clear mind when we're dealing with this too. And if you're not following Judy, please do so at judycopenbarger.today. So we're talking about, these growing up. I remember like as a kid, you don't think about the expenditures and it doesn't really matter what your parents get you. It's you got gifts under the tree. And that's all that really matters, right? But I think like you're right, as adults, as we grow older and that guilt kind of sets in a bit, right? Where you're just like, man, maybe I just, what role does that guilt of fear of disappointing others have in these major money decisions?
I think it's a real thing. Now, personally, I don't really have that. I haven't had that experience. So, this is a great reminder for me that, again, not everybody's having a great time. And a lot of people do have like shame or fear or guilt around, somebody's opening a gift. I'm like, yeah, 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 open it. I can't wait. Yeah, I can't wait to see it. Somebody else might be thinking, oh, if you open it, is it going to be the right thing? Are you going to like it? Are you going to, am I going to feel shame? Am I going to feel like, I made a mistake? I think there are people that have that feeling. And I don't know how to coach around that. Just get into the spirit of the season. What is it really about? It's the gift of giving. And why should there be judgment at all? Why should there be why do we even do it? If you just kind of peel back the layers, the reason is we want to have that connection. We want to have that respect. We want to have that appreciation for each other. And the spirit of the giving originally was as the Christ child, right? They brought gifts. And so it's a tradition. We bring gifts. And so I think it's really gotten out of hand with the marketing and all the commercialization of the whole holiday. But if there's a way to coach around that, I don't know. Maybe we need, somebody, a guest a speaker to come on the show and help us with that part. But I would just say, like Nike, just do it. Just don't do it. Right. Just choose. I choose to be a cheerful giver. I choose to just honor you with whatever you're opening, what I prepared for you to open. And then try to stay in that mindset instead of, is it good enough or is it the right thing or the wrong thing? I don't know. Is that helpful?
No, that's totally helpful.
I I
As you're
really don't
talking about,
know.
yeah, but as you're talking about this, I'm also just remembering like stages of life, right? When some of this came into play. um there's what would you say are like maybe some healthy responses to this emotional spending triggers specifically during the holidays, because like you said, everything is in your face. You got commercials here, you're going down the aisle, there's extra things, and they make it very appealing. Oh well, it's only $2 or it's only $4, and all of a sudden you're on the snowball effect, right? So
Yeah.
help us try to get past these some of these emotional spending triggers.
Well, having a plan always helps, and I think if you just set out to have a goal of how much you wanna spend or not spend, and then just sticking to your plan, I think that'll give you confidence when you go out into the world and you're at the grocery store, or you're at the pharmacy or the farmer's market or the big box stores, Costco, wherever you go, there's all that stuff. If you have a plan, maybe have a list already before Christmas season And if you're still shopping, and I'm really not, but if you're still shopping, have that list. And it's like, if it's on the list, do it. If it's not on the list, don't do it. Try not to be tempted by what's coming at you. But having a list, having a game plan, maybe discussing that with other people that are helping you make financial dishes. Say that 3 times fast. Financial decisions at your house. Okay, here's our game plan. We're going to spend $500. We're not going to come out of Costco spending over 250. Whatever the numbers are. Here's the list. This is what we have to do. And it could be like with our kids, we used to practice this. We'd go to the store and they got to pick one thing. If it was a treat day, if it wasn't a treat day, it's like, don't even ask, right? If it was a treat day, pick one thing. So we go around the store and they might pick one, pack of gum or whatever. And then if they see something else they like, it's like, well, you choose. You can put that one back and choose this one, or you can choose that one, or special cereal, whatever it was they wanted. But they got to choose one thing. So they were working through intentional shopping. And it was an exercise that served them well. And they're all really good about that. Right. And it was something we did early. But as grown-ups, we can do that too. Let's be intentional about why we're going to the store, what we want to spend, what we want the outcome to be when we get back and we're taking the stuff out of the cart and throwing it in the back of the car. Is it really what we came to do? Or is there a bunch of stuff in there that's like, because that's going to show up on your bottom line. It does become a financial impact, those choices that we make. And it might be a whole bunch of little choices and it doesn't feel like we're really doing a bad thing. But then you end up and go, oh, I got all this extra stuff I really didn't need, or I overspent. And it's all those triggers. For me, what it is, I love to cook and serve and entertain and all that stuff with people. And so my phone knows that about me. Do you have things that your phone knows about you? So
Yep.
my phone
Yep.
knows that. So all these pop-up recipes and this and that, and it's never like cheap things like stovetop stuffing. It's like you can make this bread with this cheese and this caviar and this special cranberry blue, whatever, all this stuff. And it's expensive stuff. So if I made that little nice dish and I'll be popular because I show up, because they tell you you're gonna be the favorite dish, at the potluck or at the party. But if you add up the ingredients, it's like $150 to make this little, bread order. It's like, I don't think so. But those are things that, if I'm not aware, it'd be easy just to go, well, just give me the shopping list and they print it for you, right? Give me the shopping list and I'll go get it. So we all have those things. Maybe it's sporting goods for you. Maybe it's, shoes, whatever it is. Maybe just have a game plan. If that's where the temptations are, where the triggers are for you, go in with an intentional list of what you want to accomplish there. Or maybe just you need to avoid some things. Sometimes it's just like stay away, right? So
No,
whatever the plan
that's
is,
absolutely true.
have a plan and execute it well and with a smile.
With a smile. So I'm going to give you not necessarily a question that's hard for you, but I want you to think about also clients that you've talked to, folks in your life that you come across. But I think the hardest thing for folks is to say no, right? That's the biggest on any aspect of our lives. So how can someone respectfully say no to things that they cannot afford without feeling guilty?
I don't know. I you know, I don't know. I think that's just something that we have to work on. We all have these blind spots and then they become not blind. And maybe that's happening for some people right now watching the show, right? It's like, "Oh, I do that. I didn't really realize I did that, but now come to think of it, that's a problem for me." That has caused me shame and fear and arguments. I do that. That's me. I do that. So whatever that thing is, if it's showing up for you, and maybe this show is designed to do that, just it's easy to say, not, or maybe simple to say, just Nike, just do it, or just don't do it.
Right.
Choose. Not always easy to execute because we have our values, our attitudes, the mindset, all the things that we grew up with. That's how it is, and we kind of assume
Mhm.
that's how it always will be. It doesn't have to be. You can be
Right.
different than you were before. You just choose to be. And then it's just making new habits, for a lot of people. I know we're probably getting a little esoteric and psychological here, but I think that with intention, with planning, with having a structure, and financially is probably one of the easiest areas of life to have structure. I think because it's so measurable. The dollar's
Right.
in, the dollar's out, the dollar's here, the dollar's gone, right? It's so measurable as opposed to how are our relationships going? How is our health going? Some parts of health are measurable with lab results and things, but a lot of it is like how you feel, how your skin texture is, and how your insides feel, things like that. Do I have a bum knee or a sore leg? Um, Financially, it's pretty easy to measure. So you can always see, here's the intention that I have financially with the bottom line, with the bank account, with the credit card, statements. Here's where it is. Here's where it is now. You can measure the difference. So I think that's one area that's a little easier than others to work with. Did I answer your question?
You absolutely did. Actually, you more than answered my question, which is great because it actually just triggered another question for you. That's, when we talk to folks who feel financially drained, right? But it's in their heart to want to give, right? So what would you say it's maybe possible ways to show up for others specifically for this season? You touched a little bit on that earlier.
Yeah, the thoughtfulness. This is a great time of year to practice being creative. And, one thing I don't like, words are powerful. When somebody says, "Oh, I'm not a creative person. I'm not very creative." It's like, "Are you kidding me?" We all are. Maybe we haven't exercised that bone, or maybe we haven't had the confidence, or maybe we got beat up as a kid, for drawing on the sidewalk or making a mess or something with our creativity. We're all creative in different ways. And so this might be a great time to be creative in lieu of spending a bunch of money at, the big box stores or the nice small shops, right? So, making a gift, thinking about if I was that person, what would I really enjoy? What areas of life do I like? Is it sports? Is it sitting around watching TV? Is it being out by the fire? Is it taking trips? Is it my animals? My little fur babies? What is it for me? It's my feather babies, I guess. I do love my chickens. Uh, but everybody has an area of life that they love, that they when they just are in their happy place, there's something they're celebrating. Maybe it's something they like to eat, or they like to drink, or they like to share. What is that? Maybe it's a fuzzy blanket or some nice socks, if they're cozy kind of people. If they're outdoors, maybe it's something, they can use outside. So frisbees, whatever. But you think about how they experience life and when they're in their happy place, and what would be something that would enhance that. Now, it doesn't have to be something that's store bought. Sometimes the best gifts are not. If they love,
Right.
dining, maybe, make them some jam or a pie or something they can use, at a nice meal or for entertaining. What if it's a cheese platter and you're handy with it and you make them a cheese platter, right? So everybody has some creativity, and maybe it's a very small gift, but it's the way you wrap it or present it. Sometimes you open the big box and the smaller box, smaller box, smaller box, smaller box. It's like, ha
Yeah.
ha ha, it was a great experience, memorable. We're trying to create memories and connections here. So that's memorable. Or a scavenger hunt where they have to run around the house or run around the yard or here or the farm, and then finally get the gift. What we do every year, we have a tradition. We do it at Christmas and again before New Year's, because we have birthday season, right around Christmas, is we do that Christmas ball. I guess that's what you call it, but you put a little gift and wrap it in saran wrap, and then another one, wrap it in saran wrap. Pretty soon you have this giant ball. It's like huge. And then you go around in a circle, and everybody has, 10 seconds to unwrap some saran wrap and get whatever gift they can before they hand it to the next person. You go round and round, and everybody ends up with a pile of stuff. So stuff like that. It's like it's a gift, but it's not just the thing. It's the experience of the thing. So it might be something that you handcraft, or have someone that handcraft and barter. You could trade stuff. It might be how it's presented. It might be just an experience. Let's just all have a picnic or a stay-at-home movie night. All bring the popcorn, and I'll bring the goodies, and that's going to be here is your token that I made for you, or your certificate that I made for you, to have that family night where we lock everybody out and we just have us. And that might be for someone who has, all the different ways that we love each other, the languages of love. For someone that has that quality time, or that, we just want to be connected, that could be the best gift of all. And it doesn't have to cost anything. So you want to get into their world. What would be meaningful for them? And then be creative. Even if you think you're not, be creative and give something that will be memorable for them.
And time flies when we're having fun and great conversation. And I just realized it's the end of the show. And you know what that means, folks. It's our Money Truth Challenge. And what do you got for us today?
Here's your challenge. Okay. Pen and paper. Write down the gifts that you can give without spending a dime. That's your challenge. What gifts that I haven't shopped for yet can I give that don't cost me anything? It's something that is creative, something that is delivered in a different way, something that I create myself or make myself or have that I can repurpose somehow. But make a list of gifts that you can give that cost nothing and creative ways to give them. That's your challenge. And for some of you, this might be a real challenge, but it might open up parts of you that you didn't know were there. It's going to be fun.
This is one of those challenges. I'm going to have to think about that one because, yeah, you're right. This is not a lot. It's not as easy as it sounds for sure. So I can't wait, folks, for you guys to share with us like some of these great creative things that you guys are doing. And remember that, if you're not following Judy, please do so at judycopenbarger.today. Make sure you're also tuning in on Tuesdays at 8 a.m. with the replays on Thursdays at 8 p.m. Judy, any last parting words?
Oh, just enjoy the season. Don't stress out. Don't be triggered. Be purposeful, be intentional, and just love your people. Merry Christmas.